Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good day wherever you are. I have the pleasure of introducing our next provocation speaker, who is Maria Paz Cigaran. Maria, if you'd like to turn on your microphone and camera, that would be great. Hi.
Hi.
So Maria
Hi,
is the co-founder of Sistema B Libelula. And this provocation is going to discuss 1 billion people to transform the world. So Maria, if you would like to start, that'd be brilliant. And we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So great, thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Holly. First, I want to apologize if there are some problems of connections that we are having. So apologies in advance. I hope everything goes fine. First, thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here. My name is Maria Paz Cigaran, as Holly said. I'm in Lima, Peru, and I want to talk to you about how to transform our society and ourselves to deal with the challenge of climate change, which is one of the biggest challenges that humanity is facing. For that, I want to share like three basic principles where I used to from which I make all the strategies and that are I base all the work that I do. And these are first that we only have 10 years to actually be able to phase out climate change and avoid catastrophic impact. The second thing is that we don't need everyone. Sometimes we think we need the whole population. No, we don't need everyone. We just need 1 billion people to transform the world. And the third thing that is important to also understand is that what we need is individual collective actions summing up to 1 billion. It's not that we need everybody thinking one way, but we need 1 billion people acting sustainably for the next by 2030 for the next 10 years. So when I say just, of course, it's not just. We need a lot of people, but not all the population, and that's one of the main messages that I wanted to send to you. There are three strategies that I want to also share with you that are important for this transformation and any kind of transformation. But for this one, especially for climate change, I want to share three. The first one is that we cannot take nature for granted, that we need to reconnect with nature to solve the climate crisis. The second one is that everything everything that we do in the world and in our lives starts small. It doesn't start big. And the third thing is that it does not matter where you begin. The important thing is that you begin doing something and then that you sustain that through time. So I'm gonna go by one through this lines of work that are important to solve the climate crisis. The first one is not to take nature for granted, and that's something that we have done, no? Since the pre-industrial period, we have taken nature for granted because we thought that we could exploit natural resources and also pollute the air and water, and nothing would happen, and that nature would be there. But what we have seen is that in the last 20 years, everything is really speeding up, and we have extinct 60% of a species. The climate has varied more than one degrees more than in the last millions of years. We also are reaching to the tipping point of certain ecosystems like the Amazon that gives us the ecosystem services that we need for life. And we are surpassing 4 of the 9 planetary boundaries that sustain our life. So we thought that in the name of progress, we could exploit and pollute nature without any consequences, but now we see the consequences. And that even reflects in the way we even educate our children. There are studies that say that children spend less than less time in outside than prisoners. There's a study that the half of the children in the world spend less than 1 hour of their days in nature. So how would they take care of nature, or if they don't know it, and if they don't appreciate being outside? No, so that's something that is important. So to take care of nature, we need at least 3 things. No, the first thing is go out and try to spend some time in nature with our kids and ourselves, and see how much of our time we are spending outside. The second thing is that we need to invest in nature and regenerate nature very fast. So if we do our carbon footprint and we want to compensate, then compensate that in nature. And the third thing is that we need to install a mindset that is a little different from before. No, that we need to share things and not necessarily own things. We need to buy things or not buy things, or use things that are that can go into a circle and don't generate wastes. And we also need to regenerate the ecosystem. So if our thinking is in those lines, we can apply this to our daily living, to our businesses, to the way we buy and the way we educate. So that's a change of mindset. So the second strategy that I wanted to share with you is that everything starts small. Sometimes we think, well, the threat of climate change is so big, it has so many different dimensions. How are we gonna deal with that? And we have to know that everything starts small. So even I don't know if you or any of you have an iPhone, no? When the first iPhone came to the market, there were not so many that would buy that. Only a few early risk takers wanted to have technology, bought that. When the iPhone got to the 16% of the market acquiring it, then it was a normal thing to buy, no? And that follows a curve that is called the curve of the law of diffusion of technology and the way we human beings adopt technologies. So you begin with a 2.5% of early movers that always take the risks, even with having a new venture, a new proposition, or acquiring something new. And when you get to the 16%, then you change the whole market. That also applies to societal changes. All the revolutions in the world started with a very small group of people, and with this very small group of people got to 60% of a community, then they changed everything. That happened with the abolition of slavery, with the vote of the women's vote, with the apartheid, with everything what we see. So it is the same for climate change. So what we have to bear in mind is that we can begin with one dimension of climate change, try to group a small group of people, and then try to recruit a 16% of a community, and then you will see the changes. You don't need everyone. You just need people that are in line with your objectives, and then work together. The strategy that I wanted to share with you is that the strategy on knowing that it doesn't matter where do you begin. The important thing is that you begin and then sustain your effort through times. No, solving the climate crisis for me is like solving a very complex 3,000 pieces of a puzzle. No, when you construct a puzzle, then you see the whole picture, right? But then you have 3,000 little pieces that you need to put in to actually solve the whole puzzle. The same is with the climate change. You just have to understand where is that in the whole picture where you want to begin, and then begin to join other pieces, and then you will begin to see the pictures. And when different part of the pictures are being constructed, then at the end everything gets solved. So what we need is these 1 billion pieces. It doesn't matter where you begin and which group. At the end, we will all solve the climate crisis with this approach. So these are the three things that I wanted to share with you. The other thing that I think it's important to know is that nothing will happen if we think that transformation is only going to go through policies or through a policy or some other people doing things. That's not going to happen. It has to begin with you. So everything that we tell other people to do is something that we need to transform in ourselves. No, we need to change the way we think, the way we buy, the way we educate our children, and the way we take decisions every day. And of course, that's a journey. It's not easy to go from a consumption mindset to a zero waste mindset. It's not easy to go to a mindset where you own everything. You own your computer, you own your house, to see that you only need to rent the services. No, it's not easy to understand that nature is not there and that you will have to pay for environmental services as part of your budget. So just to sum up all what I said to you, I'm going to try to go through the things that are important for the transformation. The first thing is that we only have 10 years to solve the climate crisis. It means that that means that we need to reduce our emissions 50% by 2030. For doing that, what we need is to recruit 1 billion people we are all acting sustainably and regenerating ecosystems and establishing a goal where we're going to focus and join this crowd of people that are changing the world. That we need to, for that we need to gather in small groups bit by bit. For example, if you are in a school and you want to transform your school to a zero waste school, then you can begin with a group of students, 2% of the class and 2% of the school, then to get to the 60%. And when you get there, then you have transformed all the practices of your school. So start small with a group and then grow up incrementally. Then other groups will join you. And the last thing is select your goal and just start and sustain it. It's important that you it doesn't matter if it's educating people, if it's changing yourself and your neighborhood, if it's changing your family or it's changing a policy. Just select what is that you want to do and just begin and join a crowd. And with that, I think by 2030, we all collectively would have really solved this big threat that is climate change. Thank you.
That's really profound and insightful, and I really like that you present change not just for big organizations or governments, but it really is approachable and attainable as like on an individual level. And I'd like to open up the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section. Please vote, and if you would like to come on stage and ask any questions to Maria, please do that. I'm going to start with a question that I have, if that's all right. And that's just that you have an amazing motivation for change, an incredible story. And I was just wondering if you could, what inspired you really to have this dream and to carry it out in your professional life? What, just if you could give any more details on how you got into what you are doing, and that would be amazing.
Thank you, Holly, for that question. I think I was born with the mission. But of course, the way I was raised influenced a lot what I do today. Now, when I was little, I used to go to a farm, my uncle's farm. That it was beautiful, full of animals and nature, and all my cousins were there, and we used to explore, trees and everything, and we had a very comfortable and beautiful life, and we knew that there was, the water came from the river, and milk came from the cow, and eggs came from the chicken, and earth gave you everything that you needed. And that was one thing that was very important for me, that not necessarily all children know today. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I reflected on is that even in the farm, everything was beautiful. But when I went outside the walls of the farm, a lot of poverty and pollution was there. And I didn't understand why life was so, so good for me and why life was so horrible for others. I didn't understand why pollution had to be there, why poverty had to be there. And that was the basis of everything that I do today. I wanted the world to be more equal and to really care for the environment. Mm-hmm. So after that, I worked for the international negotiations for the UN Secretariat for Climate Change. I worked for the government, developing policies. And then with a group of friends, we said, no, we have to change. We have to change the way businesses are run. So we have to help businesses to transform themselves, but that can only be done by your own transformation. You cannot transform anything if you don't transform yourself. So that's what we do. We learn every day how to do that. It's challenging, but it's beautiful.
No, that's a really amazing story, and also such a brilliant goals to embed in life, and as you said, not just see it as something for businesses. Great. So I'll take a question from the Q&A. So Pablo is asking, how can we pass from a narrative that is setting limits out of humanity in ecosystems to a narrative that encourages to limit our wants? So how can we...
Could you go again? Sorry?
Yes. So how can we pass from a narrative that is setting limits out of humanity to a narrative that encourages us to limit our wants? So how do we limit our wants in society, considering we have infinite wants and like finite needs, I'm presuming is what Pablo means.
I will try to respond to that very profound question.
Very, yeah.
A very good one. I think we don't have to limit ourselves. I think that nature is there to give us everything we need. The only thing is that we know how to connect with it and not extract from it all the time. It's like if someone is exploiting you all the time, then you will die, or you will not be happy, or you will not provide anything for the other person because you're not feeling all right. We're doing that with nature. It's not that nature doesn't want to give us the services. It's the way we deal with it. No, we think we can use a lot of water and pollute it. No, I mean, if you take water and then you return the water, with the same amount of no pollution, there's no problem. Mm-hmm. If I cut a tree and then I put a tree in a rate that everything can grow, then there's no problem. Mm-hmm. No, if I kill an amount of biodiversity that doesn't not affect the whole population of animals, it's okay. If it's for medicines, for food, for everything. So it's not that there are limited things. There's an abundance of things. It's the way we are dealing with it. We're extracting more than we need, and we are not returning what we are using. So if we change the way we see things, then everything will change.
No, definitely. No, thank you. We have another question saying, so you see this change happening incrementally at a local level. If it was taken to country level, would it not happen faster?
The thing is that you have to take everything by bit, and it depends on where do you want to focus, because changes are made by people, mm-hmm. not by someone else. It's you making changes. It's not the other one. So where is it that you want to begin? No? For example, if I take the example of two people in the United Nations, Cristiana Figueres and Manuel Pulgar Vidal, and the president of France, they chose to work on the whole climate agreement, and there's their bit. My choice, Maria Paz, is to assess companies, to transform out my own company, but to assess businesses and governments to take this path. Mm-hmm. This is my choice. Others say, okay, I'm gonna change the reality of this school or this neighborhood. So we have to do everything at the same time. It depends on what you want to do, not the other one. You. Mm-hmm. No? Do you want to work and be a president? Be the best one. And that's your part. No? The other one will help you because they will work in a restaurant, trying to transform the restaurant. So we need to take the problem by bits, no? One puzzle, the pieces of a puzzle, and not, it all works. Of course, if we have policies that are with this environmental mindset, it will speed all up, of course. But who changes the policies and who votes? Us.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. And building on that, I have another question for you, and that's, you talk about 1 billion people, 1 billion pieces, and how we should act as individuals. But how would you encourage people to find their focus, to find the thing that they should build on, the thing that they should change or work to change? How would you encourage people to find that thing?
I think you need to spend some time with yourself, and really go deeper in what makes you happy. And from that you can work with, or listen to other people and see if you relate to that, and then go and look for that person, and that person will actually hug you and tell you, yes, come with me. So I think you need to spend time with yourself and see and say, okay, what is that I want to do? And it can be your family, you know, it can be being an excellent mother. It can be an excellent teacher and transform the lives of your students, or it can be changing policies. It can be building a zero waste neighborhood. It can be anything, no? Everything matters. Everything matters. Everything that you do matters. So you have to find that is important for you. And of course, it's always easier if you are, you know, in front of the sea, or you know, in a green space with people that you love. It helps, and it also helps to watch other people, to listen to things, to podcasts, to really nurture your brain with good things and not with the bad things in the world that are too many, and you don't need to input garbage into your brain. You don't need that.
I think that's a really important message of connecting with yourself and with other people, and also having passion for what you do. I think that's a really nice way of seeing how we should implement change. So our next question, I'm actually going to invite Michael Hallam to come up on stage. So Michael, if you're there, please join us and ask your question. If you can turn on your camera and microphone.
Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Michael. Yep, we can hear you brilliantly.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Maria. Thank you for that. Very inspiring. Very down to earth. Yeah, it was a question. I mean, you're talking about 1 in 7 people on the planet. We need to engage, seriously engage, isn't it? That's about 16%.
16%.
Yeah. So because I think it's about 7.5 billion of us at the moment. And you say there are so many places to start. So we're all starting in different places. So my question really is, given that we're all starting at different places, and given the fact that we're all seeing our own little bit and we're trying to sort of feel our way into this vast, complex problem, how do we all join up? Do you sort of have any sort of sense of how we connect up and how these different projects and filaments sort of turn into a structure or a process where they start to connect up and make a difference?
Yeah, I think there are 3 things that's happening already. Yeah, that is happening. Everything is evolving, and with the coronavirus, levels of consciousness are increasing. So people are beginning to do things that are differently than before. So you have the individual action. Yeah, you need the individual action, because it's the only, through actions is the way you transform. It's not through thinking, it's through action that you transform. You think and then you act. No, this is one thing. So this is one thing. You cannot expect others to do things. You need to begin walking. Yeah, when you walk, like on the street, yeah, you walk and you are attentive. You will find people that you connect to. If you are attentive, if you are aware of people, and you are, you know, the walk will tell you you to join. I don't know if that have happened to you, Michael.
Yeah.
But when you begin something, then you begin, people arise, no? Networks, people, resources, that happens. And if you sustain, then a lot of very amazing people, amazing things happen. But the other thing is that there are people that are working in the movements. So for example, the B Corps movement. There are people that are organizing platforms for you to join. So this is more structure. Then there's the conscious capitalism movement. There's the young leader, the Greta movement, Fridays for Future. They're getting people together. So it's like if you have the puzzle, what is happening is your people aggregating the part of the puzzle. At a certain time, the universe will connect everything because everything is energy. So this movement will get this movement. I didn't know the Festival for Change, for example. No, now I know you. No, then okay, and I'm here and you're here. Then we're gonna solve this part of the puzzle together, and so you're gonna be constructing bridges because you are in action and you are joining people. And then when you are a group of movement, then you join with other movements, and that's what's happening. Movements are beginning to align their principles and work together. That's happening a lot. And I think it's gonna be growing exponentially. I hope in the next 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that helps that is that it's fundamentally creative. It's life-giving. So when the system that we're trying to get away from is one that is it's a very simple model. It just breaks things down, uses them, and throws them away. Where it's not really very creative. It's not very life enhancing. Whereas I think what we're doing, we're creating positive synergies, a little bit like the permaculture, where we're looking for ways in which this will mutual support the systems which mutually support each other and give lots of yield, as opposed to a very, very simplistic system that we've been able to live with for the last few hundred years, which is actually, it's quite a primitive system, really, when you compare it to, say, how a rainforest interacts. So my own feeling of this is that the positive synergies come out of the model itself. So a lot of that serendipity and connectiveness comes out of the model we're creating itself.
And it's also, it's that the model you're creating based on the heart. I mean, what you know life is, no, and has to be. The problem is that we created a model that doesn't promote life. It does not promote life. You work, you live to work. No, right. you don't have time to have a good time. No, it's not. Everything is standardized. Like everyone, we are robots. No, we're not robots. We used to do that because we needed to feed a lot of people. No, we grew exponentially in population, but now it's not that. That's not the problem anymore. That was good at a certain time, but now we have to solve that in a very human way. And the thing that is really helping us is technology. Technology is like the network, like in Avatar, right? You had all the trees and everything was connected, like Internet of Things, and all the technology is making us connect more easily. So I can talk to you, Michael. I wouldn't have done this, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Now I can work with you. You are there, I'm here. It's very powerful, very powerful.
Absolutely. And you can probably hear the rock and roll in the background as well. I better go.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. That was a really interesting question. And
thank you, Michael.
No,
okay. Right.
You could turn your camera.
You'll have to. Okay. Great.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. But no, really interesting about how changes and how you act has to be intuitive to the world around you. Recognize that it is a complex system, but you have a place in it. So thank you very much. So another question is, could you say a bit more about how you work with business? So what's your relationship and your organization's relationship with business? That would be great.
Yeah, what we do is whenever you need to, sometimes you have a blur in your site, right? So you need new glasses.
Mm-hmm.
So we help organizations to put on their new glasses. No, these new glasses tells you, okay, consumers not want brands that are transcendent, that solve social and environmental crises. These new lenses tell me that the rate of degradation is going to affect my business, that is really going very fast. These new lenses tell me that there are new regulations and requirements that are going to be applied to my business. So we give them new lenses, no, through carbon footprints, benchmarks, trends that will affect your business. This is the first time. The second part is to assess the different options that you have for your business. You can transform your business and begin wherever you want to begin. You can begin with a more structural thing that is put a purpose and put KPIs that are 3 bottom line at least, or you can begin with your value chain or your reporting, or you can begin creating one product that solve the climate crisis, or you can begin training your staff. No, so we give you different options. What are the impacts that you will gonna be having in terms of talent, in terms of revenues, cost of optimizations, in terms of happiness, no? And this is the second thing. And the third thing that we help you do is to train your staff and also communicate the things you're doing, because you have to be vocal. If you're really taking the path, you need to tell others what you're doing. So we help you communicate that, and to have these spaces like this one to encounter other peers that are doing the same, as are trying to do the same that you're doing, so you can learn from them in a very practical way. So that's what we do with businesses.
Okay, so really like a multifaceted approach to change with business. And I have a question for you also about business in terms of the relationship, less so about your organization specifically, but the relationship between individuals changing and big business changing. Is these small relationships that we build up and then we build up bigger networks, do you think that really is enough to overcome the political power of large corporations and their resource, the power over resource that they have? Is that do you see this change happening in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Will we achieve it by 2030?
Well, my hope is yes. Otherwise, I would be, on my bed just crying. No. I think that's going to happen in the next 5 years. Otherwise, we're going to be in problems, in very, very big problems. What I think we need to understand is that every organization, even if it's a big corporation or a small business SME, no, it's comprised by people. Yeah, by people. We people. It's like a living organism. So I have my hand, my finger, my eyes. So some people are the eyes, the others are the brains, the others are the hands, the others are the feet, the heart. You need everything to be working in synchronicity to really, to have an impact, no? So, but you can, the thing is that you do need a leadership, but if you don't have that leadership, people, from the CEOs and the board and everything. But if you don't have that, you can begin changing, because what we're going to change is the culture of the company. And you can begin with one unit. For example, the innovation unit is the one that is going to inoculate the lenses of sustainability and regeneration in the businesses. No, and then you begin to do things. Of course, if you have the leadership, everything goes very, very fast. But if you have the leadership and people don't want to change,
more difficult.
You need everything. So we just have to take into account that we need 2.5% of the organization get to 16% of the whole organization to really see a transformation. So you can go bit by bit. You don't have to solve everything. You don't have one thing. Don't panic. Just begin with other things. Do your part. Do your part.
Yeah, and I think setting those goals give a lot more hope to organizations where it seems so daunting a task, but then you start, and I like your message of starting small and building up. So our next question, I'm going to bring up Anthea. Anthea, if you can come onto the stage, if you could turn your camera and microphone on, if you'd like to join us and ask your question, that would be brilliant. Anthea, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but if you could tell. Hi.
I actually want to turn my cam on again. I've had enormous problems. Let's see if it'll work today. Yay!
Oh, yay, brilliant. Hi, Anthea. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you, Maria, for your inspiring talk, and actually for endorsing my life for the last 20 years. We've done exactly what you were suggesting. If you see in my notes, we started with business last, because to change them, it's like bringing up the Titanic. Because as the money rolls in, the bottom line is the most important, and why change? As a guy said, if it ain't broke, why must I fix it? So we actually made them fix it. We went to the community first. We went truly local to the consumers, and we worked with 4% of them. And therefore, they are no longer buying certain goods, and that's how we have changed. We also empowered some the community-based tourism enterprises, and just sharing this with you, they actually started the whole ball rolling, because the enterprises have a sustainable footprint, from composting their food waste to growing their own food to serve to the tourists. And they don't allow the tourists have to bring their own bottles of shampoo and everything. It gets asked of them before they arrive in the community. So we educate the visitors before they even come as to what they can expect. And so therefore, the one-off bottles of shampoo that are polluting the whole world aren't present where that impact is and the footprint is. So my question to you is first of all to say how fabulous I find your talk, and secondly, when you're playing one person in a band, which you've been doing for a long time, I can just see on your talk, you're talking the way I've been thinking. Is how would it not be an idea to actually start the walking? Our logo is walking the talking. To put together the case studies of where this has actually been a success. I can only speak from my own experience of Wasteland, Graceland, which is the story where we closed 2 waste dump sites, and I've got a botanical garden, and therefore now the tourism enterprises, and worked on the second one. Is it not possible to take your case studies of what you've done, and we will willingly share ours, and put them together now on this fabulous platform which has been created, actually uses those as 2 or 3 or 6 big puzzle pieces, each with their own goals which they had, and they could actually join together and start forming a picture. Because I'm finding I don't have enough hours in my day now anymore to talk to people, because they're all coming from all, and they all want individual attention for inspiration. So is it not possible to start walking with those puzzle pieces and inspire that people can actually start thinking out of the box for themselves? Is it possible? Is it possible, even, Holly, to ask this of Henry, that actually this is happening? Because I find that after almost 6 months now, because we were working on COVID already in February when we saw it happening, because of the poverty in the communities where we work, so we try to mitigate it as soon as possible. I don't think we have time. 1 year is in its half. It's over the half already. Then we'll be going into 2021, then we've got 9 years left. Would all of what you've done and the fabulous work that you've done not be able to create those platforms, and also the places where these case studies could be presented to inspire more people, that you can actually get there faster to get to the billion?
Anthea, thank you for your question. I don't know, Holly, if you want to answer, or I go first and then you go, or
you go first, and that would be brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. I think, Anthea, what you're doing is to what you're working with the community and the consumers on the demand side is the most brilliant way of addressing things, but not all of us need to be there. It's important that we have everybody working in the different dimensions of change. yours is the most difficult one, I would say, but the one that will really, really change the world, the transformation on the way we consume and demand. Yeah. And that's through our daily actions and decisions. And that's why it's so important to work on that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, we need to think of strategies, scale strategies, know how to scale things up in an exponential way, not in an incremental way, which has been happening till now. So everything that we have done is very incremental, but now we have technology, and technology gets everyone. So we need to, I think, gather in a group to say, okay, how can we scale this up? And of course, what you are proposing is one of the things that is really important. How do you systematize cases and put that accessible to lots of people? And of course, the way you tell the story is very, need to be very appealing for people to be inspired. No, so I do think that your proposal is a very good one. I'm seeing different platforms do that. No, but it's not only one platform. All of us, I think, need to be doing that, and then some will go to Festival for Change, some others will go to the organization and TIA, some will go to the movement that we're building. If we collaborate more and we have more stories on the house, no, on how you do things, we could speed things up. So it's an amazing proposal here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I don't know what, I really appreciate that, Maria. I don't know what you feel, just in passing, to say that the tourism industry is the biggest job creator and the biggest cash cow in the world. We've also seen how they've fallen from grace, where a lot of corporates have actually captured that market at the expense of the local environment and also the local communities. So what we did is we actually broke the mold. And therefore today we have a completely different way of tourism. And the incredible thing is, with the carrot which we've now putting across, is that the bookings to those communities were never cancelled. They've just been moved to 2021. So it is important. And also creating the destinations where the dump sites were cleared up and all the crafts were being made and they're making their own gardens and so on. That is already creating a new destination. So I think it's within anybody's power to be able to do that. And I think that if there was a way in which we can, each of us on our small platforms, mine is just teeny compared to everybody else's, start to try to inspire that, I think we could grow this exponentially much faster. So Holly, what do you think?
I think what you're suggesting and what you're saying is, I think, very inspiring and very heartening to hear as a student, not kind of knowing exactly how, like, what my place in the world is or how I can help. And especially as, I mean, through this festival, for example, it's amazing to hear and see, you know, so many different people and so many different students who are in similar and also very different positions to myself. I think from students and perhaps young people's perspective, not knowing that you have to have a certain amount of success in your life, but then there's a growing number of people amongst, like, my peers, my friends, who want to not just have personal success, but want to implement change. They recognize the difficulties they see in the world. And I think with these young movements, as Maria's already said, like the Fridays for Future movement, that change is really starting to happen internationally, which I think is probably the most important thing that needs to happen and continue happening, because we can have organizations. I can be part of societies at my own university, or I can be part of local community groups. But really, I agree, the scale that you're suggesting, Anthea. I think it would be brilliant if there were more platforms on a larger scale than even this, because, you know, we're connecting now and we're in such different places. And I'd love to see that perhaps it is, as also Maria, you're saying about technology and how we're able to do this now, and that's amazing. And maybe that's something we should see and definitely act on. So I hope that that's really the case, because I would love that idea, and I think that would give me great hope for the future, which I hope we have and we need that change. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anthea. That was really, really lovely to hear from you. And you've done some amazing work, and I'd love to hear some more about it, actually, as well. So I hope that I get to see you at some point in the festival later on.
I'm not sure about that, but anyway, yeah. It's
Wait.
called Wasteland Graceland, Maria.
Wasteland Graceland. I will definitely look that up. Thank you so much.
Find Wasteland
Brilliant.
Graceland on the Dreamcatcher website. Dreamcatcher
Perfect.
South Africa website.
I'd recommend to everyone who's listening right now to go and research that as well. So thank you very much, Anthea. Brilliant. So we are running out of time now. Anthea, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera and microphone off, and we'll just get her. Thank you so much. And we've got, I think, one last question from Pablo, and he'd like to know, whereabouts are you, Maria?
Sorry?
Whereabouts are you?
What?
Where are you?
Where am I? In Peru, in Lima, Peru, in South America.
Do you see a lot of change happening around you, particularly in Peru? Is there a big group of you doing this? Is there a big impetus of doing it in your country, or?
No, nothing is very big, but I do think changes. I do see changes, a lot of changes, and with the COVID environment, a lot of different initiatives have begun that are very structural in the way they are designed. So even though the COVID has had horrible impacts throughout the world, I think it will help us solve the climate crisis, because we can learn a lot of what we did and what caused that, and what we were able to do with the COVID that was not even unimaginable. It was unimaginable, and now we know that we can do that. So I do see a change in the way people think and where they are trying to put their efforts on, even with businesses. Yeah, but of course you need. There's a struggle with the economy, so it's a struggle there. But I think we will figure that out. We need more people like you too, Holly. Young people really engaging and yeah, asking for things and also doing things. Walking the talk already.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Which is what this festival at home aims to achieve: to build back better, to rethink and change the way, because we can't return to the normal that we had before. It wasn't a normal that would last forever at all. But well, that was our last question. But thank you so much, Maria. It's been an honor to host you this evening, and really inspiring and really refreshing. I have a lot of hope for the future, and I think it's definitely something that's going to stay with me, and I hope it stays with other people as well. But it's really important about your individual action, your individual focus, and seeing that you are part of a bigger picture, and also having a passion for it and enjoying it. So thank you so much.
Thank you all, and thank you, Cian. Also, I do agree with you that the change is brewing. It's really you can feel it. And thank you, Holly, for the invitation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Anthina and Michael and all the people that were here. And I hope we keep connected.
Yes, I hope so too. Well, so thank you, everyone. That's our provocation for today. Please stay around and chat if you have the time, and have a lovely day wherever you are. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.